We are gathered here today to pay our final respects to a newly lost friend. See, the other day, somehow, some way, a zombie got into my house. And unfortunately, the victim of this attack was none other than one of my newfound friends, Dumber. Sadly, Dumb did not join him, but we are going to pay our final respects to this very particularly stupid villager, Mr. Dumber. You are a good villager. I think you were... Sorry. I don't even remember what trade you had to offer, but you were ready to offer up anything that you could possibly give us. All because you cared. And now... you rest in peace, because you did not know how to get away from a single solitary zombie inside of my house. And then you attacked me and tried to eat my brains, and nobody liked you anyway, so good frickin' riddance. You're next, buddy. You're next. And with that introduction out of the way, I now welcome you back to Davey's Guide to Minecraft. And look at the lines racing across the clouds up there. Okay, enough of that. In the previous episode, which you can check out by clicking on the card above, we took a look at some of the changes made to combat and protecting yourself from enemy attacks. And I did misspeak a little bit in it, and mostly what I misspoke about was the fact that I did not add sharpness to the axe, and I wonder if it would have been the same as the sword, and it would not have been, because the sword had sharpness too, and if I had added just a simple level of sharpness to the axe, it would be level 1. Which is something we're going to talk about in this episode, because this episode today is about the changes that they've made to brewing, new enchantments, and ways that they nerfed some of the enchantments that you previously could get. And I was originally going to start with brewing, but the sun's about to go down, so I think we're going to just actually go to sleep. What do you think, Dom? I really don't want another zombie attack. That was a very unfortunate incident that happened. I was doing some work over here, and all of a sudden I heard the familiar sound of a villager being assailed by a zombie. And unfortunately, Dumber got turned into a zombie villager and had to be slaughtered because I do not have the means to fix him. And now he is permanently in peace over there somewhere under the ground. Well, in theory, anyway. It's not really. So today we're going to get on with it, though. We're going to talk about some of the changes that have been made in this game. Most of them involve new enchantments that have been added since 1.9 and some of the slight modifications that were made to brewing. It's pretty minor stuff, but if you haven't been around the game like I haven't been, it's probably something that you really aren't too terribly familiar with. And I was really interested to find out just how much they actually, how much they changed sharpness and protection. Now, I don't really know exactly what they did with protection in terms of the level of protection, but I do know that one of the things they did was that they changed it from quadratic bonuses to linear, so I'm guessing that means it's just not as good. So we're gonna go ahead and lay down and head back outside and get things underway, and hopefully nothing is roaming around. Anybody? Nobody? Okay. Now, as you can see, the handy dandy survival kit has moved due to noise, simply because those guys are too loud, so we must head on over in this direction to get to the handy dandy survival kit. Now, one of the things that I did decide during the course of this season is that certain things that I want to talk about, we will go ahead and do them in creative. We will get the item in creative, but we will not utilize it in survival. It'll just be for demonstration purposes only, simply because I have not been able to obtain the item, but it is vital for the discussion at hand. Now, this will eventually be a path, and if you remember my little introduction to 1.9 and 1.10 and all that stuff, you will remember this area. We have moved the handy dandy survival kit over here. As you can see, it is here. Contents may vary. Quick peek around, make sure I'm not being followed. And you will see inside what we're going to talk about. So if you need a refresher, this is how you do a brewing stand, but we're not here to talk specifically about that. We're here to talk about these guys and the changes to the other enchantments previously mentioned in the game. And I did not have an anvil over here, and that was very strange to me, I think. So, kicking it off with enchant... Oh, I forgot about you. Hey, Cubby! Cubby's still here. Let's go ahead and put you right there. Sounds good. Now, to first get things started, we're going to talk about the changes that they've made to sharpness. Sharpness does not do the same thing. You see, my attack damage is 7.5 with a regular sharpness, with a sharpness 2. Not really the greatest demonstration. Okay, 9 attack damage with an iron axe with no sharpness. With sharpness 5, you can see it is 12 attack damage. So it does give you a boost, but it's not the boost that it used to get. See, it used to be when you applied sharpness to a weapon of some sort, it would do it in 1.25 increments to your attack power. So each level would add that. They have changed it now so the initial increase is 1 and incremental increases are 0.5. So they've reduced it pretty significantly from what it used to be. And so really sharpness is still valuable, but it's no longer the dominating presence that it used to be. So that is something worth noting if you like to, you know, use sharpness and such. Since we already have this, we'll go ahead and grab this. This is one of the new enchantments. New enchantments to the game. Oh, skipping ahead. Protection has also been changed, as I mentioned before. I don't know exactly how they've nerfed it in terms of values, but I do know that protection does not do quite as much as you go up in levels as it used to. It just isn't as strong. So you are no longer the unstoppable killing force with full protection and full sharpness on your tools. You have been buffed, you have been nerfed a little bit, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. New enchantments. Obviously, I've mentioned Frostwalker very briefly. In the previous video, I mentioned this a little bit, but we're going to get into a little bit more detail. Frostwalker, Mending, Curse of Binding, and Curse of Vanishing are the 4 new enchantments, and I am not going to demonstrate directly Curse of Binding and Vanishing because I just really do not want to be saddled with those. Simply put, though, what they will do is Curse of Binding will literally bind the item to you. So if this is on a sword or a piece of armor or something else along those lines, it will stay with you. You cannot remove it unless you die. So you can't drop it, you can't take it off, you can't get rid of it. It is stuck to you. So if it's something that's particularly crappy, like Bane of Arthropods, you are not going to be able to drop that sword. You will have to keep that sword on you at all times until you die. Curse of Vanishing is a different beast altogether. If an item has this enchantment and you die, the item, or you get rid of the item even, I think, the item will disappear. You will not be able to retrieve it. So you don't want to accidentally hit Q with that one attached to something, especially if it's particularly valuable. Now, Frostwalker is a nifty little one. We will demonstrate that one in a second. And then, of course, we have Mending. So we're going to go ahead and put this on this shield. We'll make a new shield. We'll get rid of this guy. And simply put, Mending means that as long as I am holding this item and I attack things, some of my XP will go towards repairing the shield rather than it just completely wearing away or giving me enchanted levels. So Mending can be applied to, I believe, swords and pickaxes, axes, shovels, armor, and it will randomly pick stuff if you have more than one item, but you have to be holding the item for it to actually apply. So if you are holding your sword and it's got Mending on it, you will go ahead and pick up the the XP will mend the sword if you use that to kill. Same thing with the axe. If you're holding the shield in your hand, it could go to your shield. If you're wearing everything, if all your armor has mending on it, it will randomly pick a piece of armor. If you only have one thing though with mending and it's on you, on your persons, that will get all the experience go towards mending it. And basically it does it at a rate of 2 durability per XP orb. If the amount of repair is needed is less than that, the remaining XP will go towards your experience bar. So it is something that you can put on multiple pieces of armor. You can put it on multiple tools and just kind of pick and choose what you want to have receive the effect of mending. So for me, the shield, you know, it's always going to be on me. If I get attacked and I kill the mob, the XP will go towards taking care of that. Let's see if we can demonstrate that. We have a stray cow over here. Additionally, we're going to go ahead and put Frostwalker on, because Frostwalker is another one we can demonstrate. Frostwalker is neat because it will allow you to travel across bodies of water by creating ice. Whoa! That was not the smartest thing you've ever done. You're gonna die. And that's unfortunate. Dumb skeleton. So, Mr. Cow, yeah. So I don't know if that actually did what I wanted it to do, but I killed the cow anyway. So Frostwalker should, as I get to the water, create a path of ice that you can walk or run across. And it basically works in a small radius at first and will expand as you add levels. The maximum radius is 16 blocks, but tiers will depend obviously on how much of a level you have on it. And obviously, as you saw right there, if you stand still, it will disappear and you have to reapproach the water. So you don't want to stop during the day. At night, the ice will stay there because there's nothing to melt it. And that's a nifty little thing to keep in mind. So as you see, instead of cutting across, instead of going around, I could have just gone straight across. I'm not sure. Yeah, you see, I don't know if you noticed it right there, but my shield just picked up a couple of ticks of durability. So every time I kill one of these cows while I'm holding the shield, it is repairing my shield little by little. I want to keep careful attention to the XP bar and the shield. See if the XP goes up. Yeah, see, no XP was gained. All the XP I'm picking up right now, as I'm doing this, is going towards mending the shield. So that's where the mending enchantment comes into particular play, as it does allow you to repair your items as you're using them. So mending is a really handy thing. Now, the key thing to remember about all of these enchantments that I've just mentioned is they are considered treasure enchantments, which means you cannot create them in an enchanting table. These items will not show up at any point in time. There we go. They will not show up at any given time while you are trying to do enchantments. They will only show up when you find them either through fishing in the water or in treasure chests in areas such as dungeons. Dungeons? Yeah. Yeah, like the XP, the mob spawners and such and so forth. So you would have to find them. You know, you might find one in maybe a chest in the mine shaft or in the nether fortresses or end city, somewhere along the way. You cannot create them. So all 4 of those enchantments I just mentioned are only obtainable through chests in the game. So, or through fishing. You can fish it up if you're really, really lucky. And so those are some of the things that they've changed with enchanting and the new things that they've added. So now we're going to make it daytime again. I really don't want to lose another villager due to my negligence. Hi, dumb. Get into bed. And when we get up, we're going to talk about the minor tweaks that they made to brewing. Now, I already have a couple of brewing stands over here, but if you need a reminder of brewing stands. I guess I should have... It's a downside to doing stuff over here. I guess we'll set one up over here. Okay, so now that we are back at the handy dandy survival kit, we can go ahead and take a look. And if you had forgotten what it was required to make a brewing stand, we're going to make one. I'm going to grab these guys, these guys, these guys, and we're going to put these books up here because we are not going to keep these. I do not want to be tempted to use them. So you, I'll go a bit here. I should really put this on here so that if I throw the sword, it's gone. Stop granny to scare me. Just kidding. This guy would be a danger if there was a cub here. Then I'd have to be worried. I have a brewing stand over here already. Okay, so changes to brewing, as I mentioned, I believe in the update video on 1.9, 1.10, and 1.11, they did make the change to require blaze powder. Now, to get more specific in that, blaze powder will provide 20 fuel points, and each ingredient will cost 1 fuel point to brew. So every time you plop something in to this brewing stand and make something in it, it will cost you a fuel point. So you get 20 uses overall. It doesn't matter if it's, you know, like a piece of nether wart to make an awkward potion, and then the magma cream to make the potion itself, and then the redstone or glowstone to make it last longer or more potent, or dragon's breath to make it a potion of lingering, or any of those. Anytime you use this to create something, it will use a point, and you get 20 uses for blaze powder. So going to the nether to attack blazes to get more blaze rods becomes infinitely more important, because you need them suckers, not just for making things like brewing stands and other uses for blaze powder, but for actually powering the stinking thing. So it's an interesting little twist on the mechanic, and I think it's probably something that was needed. Otherwise, you could just, as long as you had the ingredients, you could just make as many potions as you want. Now you kind of have to go and take a trip into the nether to get the blaze rods to make the blaze powder to do that. And for blaze powder, you just put this in the crafting area, and then boom, you've got 2 pieces of blaze powder. Now again, I'm not using any of these because these are things that I have obtained mostly through creative, so they get to stay in this little area and not see the light of day. As mentioned previously, Dragon's Breath will make lingering potions, and of course there are 14 varieties of that depending on what you make, and all sorts of fun stuff. And the lingering potion is similar to a splash potion in that you throw it. The difference is a splash potion requires you to basically try to envelope yourself as much as possible to get the full effect. A lingering potion will just stay wherever you throw it, so anything that runs through it is going to pick up the effect of that potion. So it can be handy, I think, in multiplayer settings where a bunch of people want the effect. You just throw it on the ground and everybody runs through it. I'm assuming that this means that mobs can pick it up and do things with it too as well, but we shall see. Now, that pretty much covers it, but we do have to make a note. Dumb skeleton left safety to try and shoot me in daytime. Frowny face. There. So no more skeleton, and that's really sad, Cubby. That's really sad because I forgot the moose is here too. When you don't play a lot, you forget what you've done. I forgot there was an anvil right here, so I didn't need to plop that anvil down right there. So this was made legitimately, so we're just gonna take this because I think I do need one. So basically, the lingering potions are based around all of these guys, the tipped arrows, all the different varieties. And as you can see, there's been a lot of stuff in this game. Now, a lot of this stuff I want to come across naturally through the progression of the game. Other things, obviously, in future guides, I am going to still have to reproduce through creative because it's just no other way for me to do it and I want to teach, but not, hurt myself by not being far enough in progression to actually do it. So we're just going to wrap it up right here because there's no real point in hoofing it back to the house to wrap it up. In summary, there have been some changes to enchanting in terms of nerfing of sharpness and protection for new enchantments: Frostwalker, Mending, Curse of Binding, and Curse of Vanishing, that do a number of different interesting things to add to the gameplay. Brewing has been changed to where you need blaze powder to operate your brewing stand. Each piece of blaze powder gives you 20 fuel points. Each action on the brewing stand uses 1 fuel point. So keep that in mind as you are making your concoctions. It is no longer unlimited. You must be able to power the stinking thing, which is okay with me. Future episodes in this series, we will start covering a little bit more. I think we're going to do maps and boats next because maps have been changed, boats have been drastically improved, and then we will start getting into some other things that I had not covered yet in previous guides to Minecraft, such as railways and such. Looking forward to doing it. Hopefully it works out. I gotta go make a new shield. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you know what to do. I don't need to explain this to you. Check out my other videos listed up on this. Check out another video that I have posted on the screen. It could be a surprise. And I will catch you next time, especially if you have subscribed. So if you haven't, what are you waiting for? I am doing stuff again. Subscribe. That's all. See you guys later.